Something's wrong with table 7. I can feel it in my bones before I even look over. The way conversations died when he walked in. The way Marcus, our bouncer, suddenly found something fascinating about his shoes. The man sitting alone ordered black coffee 20 minutes ago. Hasn't touched it. Hasn't looked at his phone. Hasn't done anything except watch. Watch me. Not the creepy kind of watching. Something colder, clinical, like I'm a problem he's trying to solve. I refill the coffee pot with shaking hands, trying to ignore how the entire dinner crowd has gone to quiet. Even the kitchen sounds muffled, like everyone's holding their breath. Table 7 needs a refill, I tell myself, grabbing the pot. My reflection in the chrome surface looks scared. Good. I should be scared. The man doesn't acknowledge me as I approach. Expensive suit, perfectly pressed. Hands that have never done manual labor. Watch that costs more than I make in 6 months. But it's his stillness that terrifies me. He's not fidgeting, not checking the time, not doing any of the things normal people do when they're waiting. He's just there, present in a way that makes the air feel heavy. More coffee? I ask. He looks up. Dark eyes that seem to see straight through me. You dropped something, he says. Voice quiet, controlled. I look down. There's a $20 bill on the floor by his table. My 20, the one I had in my apron pocket from my bus fare home. I didn't. You did. Before I tell you how I ended up here, let me ask you something. Have you ever been judged before anyone knew your story? If you have, this will feel uncomfortably familiar. And if you've ever stayed quiet just to survive, subscribe. Not for me, but because dignity is sometimes the only thing we're allowed to keep. I bend down to pick up the bill, and that's when I see his shoes. Italian leather, probably cost more than my rent. No scuffs, no wear, like he floats instead of walks. When I straighten up, he's holding out a $100 bill. This fell too, he says. I know for a fact I don't have $100. Haven't had that much money at one time since ever. Sir, that's not... Take it. Not a request, not an offer, an instruction. The coffee pot in my hand suddenly feels like it weighs 1,000 pounds. Around us, I can hear whispered conversations starting to resume, but they sound different now. Nervous. Like everyone's pretending they weren't watching this entire interaction. I can't take your money. It's not my money. It's yours. You dropped it. We both know I didn't drop it. We both know this is some kind of test. But what I don't know is whether refusing his money means I pass or fail. His eyes narrow slightly, like he's making a calculation. What's your name? He asks. Keisha. Keisha. He says it like he's tasting it. How long have you worked here? 8 months? Good tips? I think about my bus fare home. About choosing between groceries and laundry this week. About the electricity bill sitting on my kitchen counter. Sometimes. He nods, like this answers some question I didn't know he was asking. Then he stands up, leaves exact change for the coffee. Not a penny more, not a penny less. The $100 bill stays on the table. See you tomorrow, Keisha, he says, and walks out. I stare at that money for a full minute before touching it. It's real, crisp, new. But when I look up, Marcus is watching me with an expression I've never seen before. Fear. Why is everyone in this room suddenly afraid for me? He comes back the next night. Same table, same black coffee, same unnerving stillness. This time, I notice things I missed before. The way the other servers suddenly develop urgent business in the kitchen when it's time to refill his cup. The way conversations stop mid-sentence when he shifts in his chair. The way our manager Tony keeps glancing over with the kind of nervous energy that means the trouble. Your turn, Keisha, Sarah whispers, nodding toward table 7. It's not my section. It is now. She's gone before I can argue. I approach his table with fresh coffee and a stomach full of butterflies. He doesn't look up from the newspaper he's reading, but I know he knows I'm here. Same order? I ask. Depends. On what? He folds the newspaper precisely, creases sharp as knife edges. On whether you kept the money. Heat floods my face. I did keep it, spent it on groceries and felt guilty about every single purchase. Yes. Good. Was that the right answer? There are no right answers, only consequences. The way he says it makes my skin prickle. Around us, the dinner crowd moves through their evening routines, but I feel like we're in a bubble, a pocket of dangerous calm in the middle of ordinary chaos. What kind of consequences? He looks at me then, really looks, like he's cataloging every detail of my face. The kind that change everything. A new customer walks in. Business suit, nervous energy, the kind of man who checks his watch every 30 seconds. He scans the room, spots my table 7 customer, and goes pale. Instead of sitting down, he turns around and walks right back out. Friend of yours? I ask. Business acquaintance. Must be important business if he won't even stay for coffee. Something that might be amusement flickers in his eyes. Very important. I refill his cup even though it's still mostly full. My hands are steadier tonight, but my heart's beating like I just ran a marathon. Can I ask you something? The words come out before I can stop them. You can ask. Why did you say you'd see me tomorrow? Yesterday, I mean. How did you know I'd be working? I know lots of things, Keisha. Like what? Like you're a junior at City College, psychology major. Like you work here 4 nights a week and at a dry cleaner on weekends. Like you send half your paycheck to your mother in Atlanta. The coffee pot slips in my hands. I catch it before it falls, but barely. How do you know that? Does it matter how? You know what hurts more than being looked down on? Realizing you still tried to do the right thing, even when no one expected it from you. If you've ever carried yourself with grace in a place that didn't respect you, you understand this. Don't just listen and disappear. Subscribe. This is where stories like ours finally get told. It matters to me. He nods, like this is the answer he expected. Your mother's medical bills are behind. 3 months. The hospital sent a final notice last week. My throat goes tight. You can't know that. Lupus is expensive to treat. I set the coffee pot down on his table harder than necessary. What do you want? I want to offer you a job. I have a job. You have 2 jobs. Neither pays enough. And you're offering what exactly? A solution. To what problem? The problem of being invisible. The words hit like a physical blow, because that's exactly what I am here. Invisible, background noise in other people's lives. I'm not invisible. No? He gestures around the restaurant. How many customers tonight asked your name? That's not... How many looked at your face instead of your uniform? I don't answer because I can't. Because he's right. I notice you, Keisha. Why? Because you notice things. Like the fact that I've been watching you. Like the fact that everyone else is afraid of me. Like the fact that something about this situation doesn't add up. He's right again. Nothing about this adds up. What kind of job? I ask quietly. He stands, pulls out his wallet, leaves exact change again. The kind that comes with consequences. He's almost to the door when I call after him. Wait. He turns back. What if I don't want your job? His smile is sharp as broken glass. Then you've already failed the second test. I spend my entire day off trying to figure out who Table 7 really is. 3 hours at the public library, searching every combination of Korean businessman, expensive suits, and restaurants in our neighborhood. Nothing. Like he doesn't exist outside of that corner table. But Marcus exists, and Marcus owes me a favor. You don't want to know about him, Marcus says when I corner him in the alley behind the restaurant. But you do know about him. Keisha, I'm serious. Some stones are better left unturned. He knows things about me, Marcus. Personal things. Things nobody should know. Marcus glances around the alley like someone who might be listening from the shadows. You remember Tommy Rodriguez? Used to wash dishes here? Yeah, he quit last month. He didn't quit. He disappeared. My stomach drops. What do you mean disappeared? I mean, one day he was here, next day his apartment was empty. Landlord said someone paid his lease through the end of the year, but Tommy was gone. No forwarding address. No goodbye. Nothing. What does that have to do with... Tommy was asking questions about Table 7. Same questions you're asking now. The alley suddenly feels colder. Marcus, what are you saying? I'm saying maybe you should stop coming to work for a while. Maybe visit some family out of town. I can't do that. I need this job. You need to be alive more than you need this job. He's walking away before that I can ask him anything else. That night, I show up for my shift with my heart hammering against my ribs. Table 7 is empty. Has been empty all evening. I should feel relieved. Instead, I feel watched. Keisha, Tony calls from behind the register. Phone call. Who is it? Didn't say. I take the phone with hands that won't stop shaking. Hello? You've been asking questions. His voice, calm, controlled, like always. How did you get this number? The same way I know your mother's medical bills are now 4 months behind. The restaurant spins around me. That's impossible. I sent money yesterday. You sent money, it wasn't enough. I grip the phone so tight my knuckles go white. What did you do? Nothing yet, but hospitals don't wait forever, Keisha. You know what hurts more than being looked down on? Realizing you still tried to do the right thing, even when no one expected it from you. If you've ever carried yourself with grace in a place that didn't respect you, you understand this. Don't just listen and disappear. Subscribe. This is where stories like ours finally get told. What do you want? I want you to stop asking questions you're not ready for the answers to. And if I don't, then you'll find out why Tommy Rodriguez left town so suddenly. The line goes dead. I stand there holding the phone until Tony takes it out of my hand. Everything okay? No. Nothing is okay. Nothing has been okay since Table 7 walked into my life. But I nod anyway, because what else can I do? That's when I notice the envelope on the counter next to the register. My name written in perfect handwriting across expensive paper. Inside the envelope is a check for $10,000 and a single sentence. Your shift ends at midnight. My hands shake as I stare at the numbers. More money than I've ever seen. Enough to catch up my mother's medical bills, pay my tuition, maybe even quit the dry cleaner. Who left this? I ask Tony. What envelope? He's lying. I can see it in the way he won't meet my eyes. The rest of my shift crawls by like torture. Every customer who walks in might be him. Every phone call might be for me. Every shadow might hide someone watching. At 11:45, I start cleaning my section, wiping down tables, refilling salt shakers, and doing anything to keep my hands busy. At 11:58, the door opens. It's him. But this time, he's not alone. 2 men in similar suits flank him like bookends. They don't look at anyone, don't acknowledge the other customers. They just exist, solid and threatening. He sits at table 7, same coffee order, same unnerving stillness. The other customers finish their meals quickly and leave. Within 10 minutes, the restaurant is empty except for staff. And us. I approach his table on legs that feel like water. You came back. You cashed the check. I did. Deposited it during my lunch break, half expecting it to bounce. It didn't. Why? Because you need the money. That's not an answer. It's the only answer that matters. One of his companions whispers something in his ear. He nods, dismisses them with a gesture. They move to a table by the door, blocking the exit. Sit, he says. I'm working. Your shift ended 2 minutes ago. He's right. The clock above the kitchen reads 12:02. I sit. Up close, I can see details I missed before. A small scar above his left eyebrow. Gold cufflinks that catch the light. Hands that are soft but somehow dangerous. What's your real name? I ask. Does it matter? Everything matters now. Something that might be approval flickers in his eyes. Jin, my name is Jin. Jin what? Just Jin. For now. What do you want from me? I want to know if you're as smart as you seem. Smart how? Smart enough to recognize an opportunity? Smart enough to know when you're out of your depth? Smart enough to make the right choice when it counts? He reaches into his jacket, pulls out a photograph, slides it across the table. It's me, walking to class, books under my arm, completely unaware I was being watched. How long have you been following me? Long enough. Why? Because you have something I need. What could I possibly have that you need? Integrity. The word hangs between us like a challenge. I don't understand. You will. When I finally stopped shrinking myself, they said I was being difficult. But where was their understanding when I was swallowing my pride just to survive? If you've ever chosen self-respect over safety, this space is for you. Subscribe. Not as support for me, but as a quiet agreement that some lines should never be crossed. Jin stands up, leaves money on the table. Tomorrow night, midnight, be here. What if I don't come? Then Tommy Rodriguez won't be the only one who disappears. I don't go home that night. Instead, I sit in the 24-hour laundromat 3 blocks from the restaurant, watching my clothes tumble in the dryer and trying to make sense of everything that's happening. The check cleared. $10,000, sitting in my account like a ticking bomb. My phone buzzes. Text from an unknown number. Your mother's surgery is scheduled for Friday? Thought you'd want to know? My heart stops. Mama didn't tell me about any surgery. I call her immediately. Keisha? Baby, it's so late. What's wrong? Mama, what surgery? Silence on the other end. Too long. How did you know about that? What surgery, Mama? The doctor called today. Said someone anonymous paid for the kidney procedure. The one I've been on the waiting list for. They moved me to the top. I close my eyes, feel the walls closing in around me. Did they say who? No, baby. But it's a miracle. I was going to call you tomorrow, but I didn't want you worrying about missing school for it. After I hang up, I sit in the fluorescent lights of the laundromat and finally understand what Jin meant about consequences. He didn't just give me money, he bought my compliance. The next night, I show up at the restaurant at 11:45. The dinner crowd is thinning out, but Jin isn't there yet. You look terrible, Sarah says, refilling coffee for the last few customers. Didn't sleep much. Boyfriend troubles? If only it were that simple. At exactly midnight, Jin walks in, alone this time. He nods toward table 7, and I follow him like a dog on a leash. You look upset, he says once we're seated. You paid for my mother's surgery. Yes. Without asking me. Would you have said no? The question hits like a slap. Because of course I wouldn't have said no. What kind of daughter says no to saving her mother's life? That's not the point. What is the point, Keisha? The point is you're buying me, piece by piece. I'm investing in you. What's the difference? Investments have returns. My stomach churns. What kind of return? Jin reaches into his jacket, pulls out a manila folder, sets it on the table between us. Open it. Inside are photographs, surveillance shots of people I don't recognize. Men in expensive suits, women getting into luxury cars, everyone looking over their shoulders like they're being watched. What is this? Your new job. I already have a job. Not anymore. He's right. Tony handed me my final paycheck when I walked in tonight. Said the restaurant was cutting staff, but I know better now. What do you want me to do? Watch. Listen. Remember. That's it? That's everything. I flipped through more photographs. These people don't look like criminals. They look like accountants, lawyers, the kind of people who work in glass towers and eat lunch at places I can't afford. Who are they? People who think they're smarter than they are. And you want me to spy on them? I want you to learn about them. Learn what? Jin's eyes go cold. Learn which ones can be trusted and which ones need to disappear. The photographs slip from my hands, scatter across the table. You want me to help you decide who lives and dies? I want you to help me decide who deserves what they get. 6 months later, we're raiding Maria Santos's private estate. Jin's men are handling the guards downstairs. I'm upstairs in her private office, looking for the ledger that connects her to the shipping containers. Check the safe, Jin tells me through my earpiece. Code is 7249. I open the heavy steel door. Inside there isn't money. There are photo albums, rows of them, dated by year. I don't know why, but my hands start shaking. I pull out the one marked 2008. That was the year I turned 7, the year my mother adopted me. I flip it open. It's not a family album. It's a catalog. Page after page of children, numbers written underneath them, sold, shipped, deceased. And then I turn the page, and the world stops. It's me. I'm 7 years old, wearing a bright yellow dress with a sunflower on the collar. I'm standing in this room, this exact office, and standing next to me, holding my hand with a tight, painful grip, is Maria Santos. Underneath the photo, it doesn't say Keisha. It says inventory number 409, status stolen. You found it, a voice says from the doorway. I spin around, gun raised. Maria Santos is standing there. She's not scared. She's holding a glass of wine like she's expecting a guest. I always wondered if you remembered, she says, walking closer. You were my favorite. So quiet, so obedient. I don't know what you're talking about. My voice trembles. Don't you? She points to the photo. Look closer at the woman in the background. I look. In the corner of the photo, blurring into the shadows, is a younger woman holding a clipboard. She looks terrified. It's my mother. It's Clara. Clara wasn't your mother, Maria sneers. She was my floor manager. She stole you the night of the raid because she got attached to the merchandise. My knees hit the floor. The air leaves my lungs. My entire life, the adoption, the struggle, the love, it was all a lie? I wasn't rescued? I was stolen property? And the best part? Maria laughs, a cold, sharp sound. Your boyfriend knows. I freeze. What? Jin, she says, nodding toward the earpiece I'm still wearing. Ask him. Ask him why he really hired you. I tap the earpiece. Jin? Silence. Jin, tell me you didn't know. His voice comes through, clear and calm. I knew. The betrayal hits harder than a bullet. Since when? Since the day I walked into your restaurant. I recognized your eyes. You look just like the girl in the missing file from 2008. You used me, I whisper. Tears blur my vision. You knew who I was and you used me to get to her. I gave you a choice, Jin says. I gave you a gun. I gave you the truth. You gave me a lie. I gave you a chance to stop being a victim, he replies. Now, finish it. Maria is smiling now. She thinks she's won. She thinks the betrayal has broken me. He's a monster, sweetheart, she coos. Just like me. Put the gun down. We can talk about... I look at the photo again, at the scared little girl in the yellow dress. Then I look at Maria. You're right, I say, wiping the tears from my face. He is a monster. I stand up. My hand stops shaking. But he's my monster. Bang! You know what's worse than finding out your whole life is a lie? Realizing the truth is the only weapon you have left. If you've ever had to destroy who you were to survive who you are becoming, hit subscribe. Because sometimes, the only way to heal is to burn everything down. Chapter 7. The New Owner. We leave the body where it falls. I walk out of the estate past the flashing lights of police cars that Jin has already paid off. He's waiting by the black sedan, leaning against the door, watching me. I don't say a word. I just walk up to him and slap him. Hard. The sound cracks through the night air. His head snaps to the side. He doesn't get angry. He slowly turns back to look at me, and there's no regret in his eyes. Only pride. Feel better? He asks. My mother, I say, my voice low and dangerous. Clara, is she safe? She's in a safe house in Zurich, fully paid for. She's been there since the day I gave you that first check. She lied to me my whole life. She saved you the only way she knew how, Jin says. She loved you enough to steal you from hell. Don't punish her for that. I look at my hands. They're steady. I just killed a woman, found out I was a kidnapped child, and realized the man I love manipulated me into all of it. And the scariest part? I don't want to leave him. You knew I would do it, I say. You knew if I found that photo I wouldn't hesitate. I knew you were strong enough to handle the truth. He opens the car door. Most people aren't. I look at the open door, the leather interior, the darkness waiting inside. 3 months ago, I was a waitress worrying about a $20 tip. I was invisible. I was powerless. Now, I'm the woman who just took down the biggest trafficker on the East Coast. What happens now? I ask. Now? Jin smiles, and it's the first time he's looked at me like an equal instead of a project. Now we go get the rest of them. And if I say no? If I walk away? You won't. He's right. I won't. Because the girl in the yellow dress is gone. And the woman standing here? She has a lot more work to do. I get in the car. Jin slides in next to me. He takes my hand, the same hand that pulled the trigger, and laces his fingers through mine. He doesn't say, I love you. He says something better. Partner. As we drive away, watching the mansion burn in the rearview mirror, I realize something. He didn't just leave a black card on my table that day. He left me the keys to the world. And I'm just getting started. Does the end justify the means? I killed a monster, but I became one to do it. Tell me in the comments, would you forgive Jin for lying to you, or would you have used that bullet on him? Before we go any further, I say, I need to know who you really are. Jin is quiet for so long, I think he's not going to answer. When he finally speaks, his voice is different. Quieter, more human. My sister was 8 years old when she disappeared. The words hit me like cold water. Disappeared? Taken, sold by people like Maria Santos to customers like James Park, with money laundered by people like Robert Chen. He pulls out his wallet, shows me a photograph. A little girl with pigtails and a gap-toothed smile, wearing a yellow dress. Her name was Mina. She loved butterflies and ice cream and terrible pop music. What happened to her? I found her 3 years later, in a basement in Bangkok. She was... He stops, can't finish the sentence. Jin, I'm so sorry. She died in my arms, 11 years old. She didn't remember my name. The photograph trembles in his hands. That was 15 years ago. I've spent every day since then hunting people who trade in children, making sure they pay for what they take. And the money? The power? Tools. Nothing more. I look at this man I thought was a monster and see something else entirely. Someone whose little sister was murdered by respectable people who thought money made them untouchable. How many have you stopped? 43 operations, hundreds of children saved, thousands more who'll never be taken because the predators are too afraid to operate. And the cost? Everything. My humanity, my peace, my ability to sleep at night. But I can live with that if it means other little girls don't end up like Mina. I reach across the table, cover his hand with mine. You don't have to do this alone anymore. You don't understand what you're agreeing to. I understand that children are dying while monsters live in mansions. And when this is over, when Chen and Santos and Park are gone, there will be others. There are always others. Then we'll stop them too. Jin looks at me like he's seeing me for the first time. You really mean it. My whole life I've been invisible, background noise in other people's stories. Maybe it's time I became someone who matters. You've always mattered, Keisha. Not like this. Not where it counts. I used to think power belonged to the people who controlled the room. Now I know it belongs to the ones who survive it without losing themselves. If this story stayed with you, subscribe before you leave. Because somewhere, another woman is listening in silence. And knowing she isn't alone might matter more than you think. Jin stands up, offers me his hand. Are you ready? No, but I'm tired of watching from the sidelines while bad people win. When I take his hand, it doesn't feel like giving up my freedom. It feels like finally using it. What happens now? Now we go save some children. Outside the restaurant, a black car waits in the shadows. 3 years ago, getting into that car would have been the scariest thing I'd ever done. Tonight it feels like coming home. 6 months later, I'm standing in Maria Santos's private office, holding a gun I never thought I'd be able to use, when I see the photograph on her desk that changes everything. It's me. Age 7, wearing a yellow dress identical to the one Jin's sister Mina had on in his wallet photo. You remember now, Maria says, her hands raised but her voice calm. I wondered when you would. The room tilts sideways. What? Room 47, Building C. You were there for 8 months before the raid. Memories flood back like broken glass. Dark rooms, other children crying, a woman with kind eyes who used to sneak us extra food. My adoptive mother, the woman I've been calling Mama my whole life. Clara worked for me, Maria continues, one of my best handlers, until she decided to grow a conscience. The gun trembles in my hands. You're lying. She took you during the raid, disappeared. I spent 15 years looking for my missing inventory. I'm not inventory. I'm a person. You were a very expensive investment. Do you know what 7-year-old American girls sell for in certain markets? Jin steps out of the shadows behind me. He's been listening to this entire conversation. That's enough, Santos. Ah, Jin, still playing hero with your little pets. Maria's smile is poisonous. Did you tell her why you really chose her? Why you've been watching her family for 2 years? I turn to look at Jin, and his face tells me everything I need to know. You knew, I whisper. I knew. You knew I was one of them, one of the children. I knew you were rescued from Santos's Bangkok operation. I knew Clara was your handler who turned. I knew Santos had been hunting you. The betrayal hits like a physical blow. The tests, the job, all of it was because you knew what I was. All of it was because I knew who you could become. A weapon. You turned me into a weapon against my own past. I gave you the chance to face your past and win. Maria laughs, sharp and cruel. How touching. The rescued child becomes the avenger. Very poetic, Jin. Very manipulative. I keep the gun trained on Maria, but my words are for Jin. How long have you known? Since the first night you served me coffee. I recognize something in your eyes. The same look Mina had when I found her. And you decided to what? Use me? I decided to save you. Again. By lying to me? By giving you the choice to be more than a victim. You know what's worse than discovering your entire life was built on lies? Realizing those lies might have been the only thing keeping you alive. If you've ever learned that the people protecting you were also using you, hit subscribe. Because sometimes survival and manipulation look exactly the same from the inside. How do you tell the difference between being saved and being controlled? Drop your thoughts below. We all need to figure this out together. I look at Maria Santos, this woman who bought and sold children like merchandise, who stole 8 months of my life that I can barely remember, who would have killed me if Clara hadn't risked everything to save me. Then I look at Jin, who spent 6 months preparing me for this moment, who knew exactly what he was asking me to face, who turned my trauma into his training ground. Clara, I say to Maria, my mother, is she safe? Your mother has been in protective custody since the day Jin contacted her. She's fine. The medical bills? The surgery? All real, all necessary, all paid for with Santos's own money. I study Jin's face, looking for lies, for manipulation, for any sign that this is another test. Why didn't you just tell me the truth from the beginning? Because you needed to choose justice for yourself. Not because someone told you to, not because you remembered being hurt, but because you decided children deserved protection. And if I hadn't chosen justice, if I'd failed your tests, then I would have made sure you and Clara disappeared safely, and I would have handled Santos alone. Like you handled the others. Like I handled the others. I turn back to Maria, this woman who represents the worst 8 months of my life that I can't even fully remember. Any last words? You're still just inventory to me, she says. I pull the trigger. When it's over, Jin and I stand in the silence of Maria Santos's office, surrounded by the evidence of her crimes. Photos of children, shipping manifests, financial records. What happens now? I ask. Now you choose who you want to be, Keisha the survivor or Keisha the protector. Can I be both? You always have been. Outside, the black car waits to take us to the next operation, the next monster hiding behind respectability. I get in beside Jin, and for the first time since this all started, I understand exactly who I am. Not the invisible waitress, not the rescued child, not even the reformed victim. I'm the woman who remembers what it feels like to be powerless and refuses to let it happen to anyone else.